Hey, I'm going to continue working on Spelljammer combat and exploration artwork. Give me a second here to go through my intro spiel. Make sure my signal is coming through clear, and we'll get through intro, and then we'll get to work here for hundreds of odd minutes. So let's see. Checking. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Checking. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. That sounds good. All right, cool. Give me a second here to get everything set. We'll do our intro and then we'll get to work. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. Hi, I create role-playing game supplements. I illustrate them and then publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past number of years. There's a slew of links to work that I've already published for 5th edition on DMsGuild that's live and available for everyone to look at right now, and links down below. If you are an art enthusiast and you're just here for the pixels, then amongst those works, if you click the free previews, there's probably about 150 different illustrations I built specifically for the pages that the art is on. If you are a 5e enthusiast, those previews are extensive. So whether you're on the DM side or player side of the screen, there's stuff in there for you guys to use and explore for your own campaigns. If you think some of that stuff is cool, consider making a purchase to support more behavior in the future. Otherwise, best way to support the channel, you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney. I've just posted that I've gone live, so if you want to get notifications when I'm live in the future, you can follow me here at Phil Kearney. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Best way to help support the growth of the channel here on YouTube, for me to monetize the stuff that we do here so that we can continue producing more work. And of course, the ultimate goal in the future is to quit the day job and do this with you guys 6-8 hours a day, 5 days a week, so that I can have more time at night with my family and actually run more than just one game a week, so I can make sure that I'm playtesting more quickly to get through concepts more fast and more fast, get things going. So if you like the stuff, if you want to support it, please do. Hang out with me here down in chat if you want. Hit me up on Discord if you know where I hang out, Twitter since you've seen it, or in the comments after the stream. So what do? We create books and then we illustrate them. So here's the current document that we have. It's a Word document. We create our stuff in Google Docs. Once we finish all the concepts in Google Docs, we play test them as we go, make changes as necessary. Once we're happy with how the system is sitting, it's fun to play, we send it off to an editor. The editor chews on it in Google Docs, then kicks it back to me. I then pick it up out of Google and drop it into Microsoft Word. We then do the formatting to get all the stuff right. And as you can see, there are holes on each of the pages where illustrations go. Like for example, here on the combat page, we're now illustrating the combat page. So we pick this page up as a PDF, we drop it into Photoshop here as it is, and then we art the hell out of it. So let's get to work. So in hand, actually I think what I want to do is grab, let's go to the equipment section here real quick so I can grab some reference. I can self-reference my own stuff. Where are vessels, tokens, hook patrons, bundle, citadel, background, workbench, format. Oh, I'm gonna have to just open up the page. I'm here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday morning like this. I'm illustrating book art for the Spelljammer concepts that we're in right now. Monday and Thursday night, including tonight, we work on cartography and creature tokens for Ebron Adventure, Spelljammer production, interior pages done, equipment and ships. Sorry, I'm fetching open a document so I have a color reference I can grab real quick. Was it in this one? Oh wait, no, it may have been in. Oh, this isn't the one. This isn't the one I want. Let's close out of that. No, and it's actually the hazards section that I want. So let's go open. Done. Hazards. The hazards chapter is finished already. This is where I want to be. Let's Isn't it? Oh goddamn it! No, it's It's spellcasting. Sorry, these are different chapters already finished that I have color references for. It's just I keep forgetting which ones are in. So done. Let's go to. This time we'll get it right. Spellcasting. The spellcasting chapter. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Copy that. Paste it for color reference. All the references that we need are pretty much here on page. I'll need to do some color research for the clothing for the commander, the arbiter and loading crew, but everything else here is pretty self-contained. So I guess we get living or we get dying. Let's close this document down here. No, I don't need to save that. Bum, dum, dum, dum. Nope. Let's get this one open down here and then go dun 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 dun. Boop. Here. Bop. References. Close up the references. We got the crew. I'm peeling the piece apart so we can get back to work on it. We have our crew. We have our Nyogi ships. We have background, and then we have trash. Drop trash down. Right, so that's looking good. Bump, 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 bump. Let's get into crew. Crew. Don't need that. One crew. Two crew. Oh, I see what's happening there. And then crewman, and then background of crewman here. Bump. Crewman. Background of crewman here. Weapon and deck. And then that's whatever that is. So weapon and deck. That's where we're at right now. So let's go bump, bump, bump. Let's get our weapons back on here. No. 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 There. I guess it is here. What is going on with you? Right. Okay, cool. Now, hey, Internetico. How you doing, my guy? Let's go with, let's see. Skew. It's not hurting anybody right now. Get rid of that. Drop this down to background like that. Here, blip, blip. we'll be able to block in and hide what we don't need here and then erase it ultimately. Right now we're just blocking in shapes. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to up the visibility of the sketch in the background like that. I'm going to lock it back down. Cancel here. Free transform. And then we're going to perspective a little bit like this. And then skew a touch like that. So we have a very, very mild perspective going on here. Let me grab the deck. Get ready for some DAC. Roughly like that, and then we're going to, I'm just grabbing colors right now. I'm gonna grab actually this color down here. I still love this picture. This thing is great. It's like just about a D&D scene. I am thrilled that I've gotten to the point where I can like fully depict combat scenes in D&D and feel good about the results that I create. I'm gonna do like that. What was our spacing on these slats? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So the slats here on this sample piece, these siege weapons are large size. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's roughly 2.5 feet per plank of wood on the deck, which jives. So a large size object which occupies a 10-foot square would have 4 of these. Going across the width of its base. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That lines up pretty good. Merge down. So I'll be able to skew and perspective modify these so that they line up with the angle of the deck and railing that we already have established in the piece. Grab a bunch like this. Paste. Now all I gotta do is push it over to the edge of the screen. And yep, we did our job right, so it all slats the same. Merge. About like that. Paste. Let's just pull it over. Be that guy. So we got a slew. We got like maybe, I want to say about 12 illustrations about like this that we're going to have to produce for this section of the book. And there's probably about 20 diagrams. So I'm just about at the place where I'm happy with rearranging all the text for the entire 36-page block. It's probably about maybe 8 illustrations and then like maybe 13 diagrams I need to build. And I can build the diagrams off screen. So I'm almost done and content with where all the placement and the text referencing those placements at this point. And as we continue through here, we'll look at that. But I get to now go here and go skew and try to line. Let's go with perspective, and then skew some more. Woof, that's rough. But it's accurate. Nailed it. Nice job, Kearney. And that really reduced the size. So we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we need to increase the size of this. So do like this. That'll probably work out okay. 1, 2, 3. Perfectly lined up. Very, very nice. So let's go and we'll flatten this down a bit just to get the skew on a little bit more. Increase the size a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Sign this over so I can have these this here. One, two, three. Still lines up, lines up, lines up. Good. So we got our floorboards down in place now, so that gives us a stable base. Dubanaba need. Let's go with floorboards. Ship. I'm gonna have to open this up a bit. Is that little K on screen? Yeah, you can still see everything. Good. So now when we come back through and we start, like, say, putting people on deck, we know that's a space here and a space here. So we have our perspective here that we can create the bases for. Like, if we were drawing people as figurines, and that's pretty much what illustrating D&D combat is we can safely put these like little circle bits here. Up that a bit. Yeah, now that all this stuff is taken care of, I can erase that. Leave the weapon in place. Just get rid of all the line work around it. There. So, Hornetico, what are you working on today, my man? going to block this in. Trying to better refine that skill. I'm mostly tinkering with an anime. Oh, very nice. Well, you know, animation is slow, my man. Animation is just drawing a shitload of pictures over and over again. As long as you keep drawing the pictures, you're still winning, my guy. I have very little experience in animation myself. When Flash came out in the... I want to say late 90s. I tinkered with it a bit, but I didn't have the patience for it. And then After Effects happened, and some folks were using After Effects to animate, to create animations, and I didn't have the patience for that either. But I learned a lot about the process in discovering that I'm not interested. you gotta get far enough down the pipeline for you to know if it jives with you or not. And I feel I am best sitting in the static illustration space until further notice. So I admire the effort, my man. The worst thing that's going to happen if it doesn't work out is that you're going to get a lot more aware of posing and movement. You can get to a place where each of the frames that you're building is in itself imbuing movement and animation, like pardon the pun, but animation into the characters and the environments that you're building. Then that skill can transfer out of the actual animation frame space into your static illustrations. Not to dissuade you from pursuing the goal, it's just I think that's a great space for you to play around inside of. I'm just saying that unto itself, there are treasures to be discovered, and there is no failure. There's just acquiring additional skills in the process. Here like this. I am thrilled to have taken the time of doing all the ship combat how to put. There's a lot of combat type stuff in the spell casting section, which is appropriate because most spells are combat. It's just under a different name. But I'm happy to have spent the time that I spent. Last month or so, building out all that art, because now I feel pretty confident, almost bored with the different little pieces that we have of ships engaging with each other here. So I think when I go back through addressing that boredom, I think it's because I've been playing in this space for a year now, but the folks that are going to see this book for the first time obviously haven't. So I need to keep perspective about what's still exciting to me about conducting combat and portraying these mechanics in a game that to me it just feels like 5e combat. There's the group effect to it, sure, but when you get down to it, it's just 5e combat with all the good and bad that goes along with it. So for me, it's less exciting and it's more, technical. Like as a DM, let's just do this thing. But the illustrations that I put in need to be Like how many convoys of ships, do I need to depict? One. I only need to depict one convoy of ships for you to recognize what a convoy of ships looks like, right? So I don't need like 2 or 3 illustrations like that. So when I go through, when I do my next sweep of sketch illustrations and starting to build those out and with more structure like this, I'm going to need to assess, how same are some of these. Like, what do I need to do to mix up the imagery to help 1, 2, 3, 4 help make sure that the flexibility of the system is coming through, not the novelty of the new. If that makes any sense. Like if how to put it, as the readers become more proficient with using it, the illustrations are going to become less and less impressive because they're going to get what the mechanics are. They are going to get bored with the simplicity of the system, like I am. Like, I understand how this works. It's like I don't need to reference the book as much once the information is absorbed. Because they're going to get how the system works. They're not going to have to reference it as often. So when they do reference it, I want to make sure there's a wide variety of things being portrayed so that it keeps catching them and re-excites them to be inside of the book. It's like, oh yeah, these are neat ideas. This is something cool that I can do. Looking at Illithid doing stuff, it's like, I could use a lot more Illithid in this system using these rules. And I can use more beholders, but like not pardon the pun, not hold myself in a small frame like that, so that the Spelljammer is big. Like, the whole point of the book is it's big, so I want to do everything I can to have big ideas, big fun being illustrated. So it's a keep saying big. It's a challenge. This is a very, very challenging project for me. Actually pretty exciting unto itself how similar in structure the ship mechanics are to just normal 5e combat, to the point where if you already know how 5e combat work, once you understand the scaling and how movement works and how damage works and how firing siege weapons works, like once you get to just the subtle details of how the ultimate mechanics, the variant mechanics needed to make these larger scale things work, like it really just becomes it's just 5e combat. And however excited or bored you are with 5e combat, this is it. And the novelty for most people is that they don't get to play this type of stuff. So it's like, if this isn't how just your table is, it's like, wow, this is all really cool how much it is 5e, but 20-30 hours in, you're like, well, it's just 5e combat. So here comes some more ships, let's trash them. But that was the point of the book, was to grind it down so that ship combat and large scale combat wasn't anything difficult in comparison to just normal dungeon combat. That was the whole goal of the book, was to get it so that if you know how to play 5e, these systems are just going to make sense with all the good and the bad that goes along with it. I think if I expand out into doing Kickstarters with a completely different system in say 2025, I think I'm going to be able to take some really fun lessons away from everything that I've done with 5e and be able to really readdress how conflicts are resolved. I'm still figuring it all out. I think ultimately what I want to do is have an independent project with a basic D20 system that deals with all the different commands, all the different command functionality that we've tested over the past couple of years, and build that into like more of a like an OSR, like an OSE, BECME, generic, like very basic, like Shadow Dark simple D20 system for all these mechanics, so that they can be used across multiple gaming platforms. So it makes sense that it's more of a system neutral, just like D20 project in general that can be applied to whether you're playing 3E, Pathfinder, 5E, Shadow Dark, OSR, OSE. Just have basic D20 mechanics that are pretty generally universal amongst different D20 products, and have the core of this work with all of them, so it becomes a useful, how to say, the biggest interest in old school revival is, I think, that sense of scale that I keep talking about, moving away from just your characters and having a bigger BECME Barbarian had a really great diatribe about this a few months back, saying that it's the sense of purpose. Like, why are we in dungeons from like level 1 to 7? Why are we doing this? It's so you can accumulate wealth and make a name for yourself, so you can build your own kingdom. Like, that was the goal. That was the goal of D&D back in the old box set's first edition. Was we're gaining notoriety and skills so that people will follow us. It's not unlike the journey of the YouTuber these days. You build reputation for having fun, smart thoughts that are valuable for people, and then once you hit a certain mass, you just start producing content that people just automatically buy because they like you. Like, that is the way of the influencer. And in many ways, that is a very, very BECME approach to the role-playing game industry in general these days. There was a Substack article that there's only 180 books on DriveThruRPG that have ever gotten more than 5,000 sales. Only 180. DriveThruRPG has been around for like damn near 20 years, I think. So there's multiple Kickstarters that have made $20,000 or more in their startup. And if these are, say, $5 books, or if you do $20,000 on a Kickstarter and you sell them for $4 a piece, that's effectively giving yourself an adamantine sale on DTRPG. You've got a $4 book, 5,000 people have opted into purchasing it. That equals a $20,000 price tag. Kickstarter $20K. That's your math there. So however expensive your book is, multiply that by 5,000, and that is a very worthy goal to set for a Kickstarter campaign. I think I'd want to start small. Like if I can start, like, so there's copper. Copper is 50. Silver is 101. Electrum is 251. Gold is 501. Platinum is 1001. Mithril is, I believe, 2501. And then you have Adamantine, which is 5001. So if I'm going to do a Kickstarter campaign, I want to be looking at this range here for my very first one. And then my second one, I want to think about being inside of this range. Third, and then fourth. So this is the goals that I want to set for myself when I start doing Kickstarter projects, and be able to scale cost accordingly, so I can be able to pull people in. So if I'm going to have, assuming that only 5% of the people that ever see what you do is going to buy your thing, then I need to have an audience of roughly 51, 50. I want to have at least 5,000 plus audience that are engaging with my content for me to be able to hit these numbers consistently. Like if YouTube here was my only platform, I would need to have 5,000 people that check out my stuff regularly for me to assume that I'd be able to hit inside of this range here. If I announce, hey, I'm going to do a Kickstarter and we're going to start launching it next week, and that's all I'm going to be talking about while I paint a bunch of stuff for the next X years. And then scale up like 5,000. Then I'd need 25,000 people to be able to hit gold automatically. Need 50,000 people to be able to hit platinum off the cuff. Yeah, it just scales up and gets ridiculous. So that's where the advertising budget comes in. Get people like Jenny D or Nerd Immersion or whatever talking about your shit. And it takes a stupid amount of effort. But at least I'm seeing what numbers are going in without any illusions about quality, because it's just you can't be better than your numbers. Which is actually really reassuring, because if you don't have the numbers, the math isn't going to add up, and you can respect when it doesn't, because it shouldn't. You need to have at least 20 people for every sale that you want, of people that are just like genuinely interested in what it is that you're doing, because they may love what you're doing, they might not be able to afford it, or they may consistently show up and be interested in what you're doing and enjoy the process, but actually don't play, so actually wouldn't buy it. So there's a lot of realism, like being real with yourself about expectations of people. That is important. Let's grab our dark bits there. Hey, timely timer. Let's take a sip of coffee and take a break. I got maybe like 4 hours of sleep last night, so I'm still shaking the tired off of me. But it was time well invested, because we locked down almost everything but 2 pages. We've been able to reformat and recalibrate the layout to have more efficient information, more examples, better placement, and I think better self-referencing throughout the document, so that the fleet and squadron section should be much easier to digest. So we'll get back to that section probably next week. We're going to stay here in the core combat and movement section for now, and start, just since we have the sketches for these illustrations, I'm charging forward with these. And my goal is that each day that I spend here with you guys live that I can then off screen complete a diagram. So every day I finish a diagram, and however long it takes for me to finish an illustration is obviously how long it's gonna take to do that. But if I can get ahead, if I can stay on pace with the diagrams and start punching through those pages, we're gonna see the page count needed to be worked on dropping quickly, so that because there's only so many actual illustrations that are needed in this book compared to the amount of diagrams that we have to explain how this stuff works. So that's actually really encouraging. It's prevented me from being too intimidated, because I know it only takes a couple hours for me to do. Like, as I get better at the process, it'll take less and less time. But currently, it takes a couple hours for me to be able to build out a diagram and be done with it. In comparison to, like, say, this will take me like a dozen hours to finish this piece. If it doesn't, I'm going to be impressed. But typically, I would expect this to take 10 hours for me to finish this. It's because it's got literally a lot of moving parts. It's got the weapon, it's got 3 ships, it's got the asteroid field, and it's got 3 crewmen that are operating the siege weapon itself. So that is a lot of bodies on the board. It's going to take a little while to finish that. So if I can maintain that clip, even if I can finish a diagram every other day, I'm still going to be collapsing time frames very handily. And if I get to the point where I've got all the diagrams done, and I'm still working in the mornings here on combat art, then I can shift gears in the evenings and start building out less interesting illustrations and just focusing my morning time on the more the cooler key pieces. Not all illustrations are the same. Not all of them are amazing home runs. Even in Magic the Gathering, there's so creature art, and then there's like amazing creature art, and it's just kind of, honestly, it's a little bit of his luck of the draw. When you have a whole bunch of content that you're producing, just naturally some of it's just going to end up being better than the others. And that's just naturally how it's going to be. Like that 20-80 rule, like 20% of the illustrations that you're going to do are going to carry 80% of the product. So very much like animation, those are like your key frames, like the real standouts, the stuff that you include in your advertisements. Structure. I'm just doing some fancy carving here. Another pile of ammo here. Then I'll be able to probably make this whole thing a little bit bigger. Blah, 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 bigger. Yeah, we're coming along. This is nice. Everything's fine. On point. Nice job, Kearney. Take our victories where we can get them. So far, so good. So what? Fill that in, gap in there. Flush that out a bit more. Yeah, like that. Just like that. This is coming along very smoothly. I'm pretty. I don't have to murder myself. I mean, here's your text. Here's your text size, right? Like this is super easy. Here, let's get rid of the references stuff here. This is a very easy size. Most people can probably sit here comfortably. Like if you have decent eyes, I don't. But if you've got decent eyes, you can probably read this text a-okay at this resolution. At worst, you're probably going to be here. Like that's super easy for me to read this scale. So at that size, this weapon's looking pretty damn good at this resolution. So I don't have to really murder myself over this stuff. If you remain aware of your sense of scale, it makes knowing when is enough a lot easier by understanding the medium that you're putting these things in. I mean, like you can jam a fuck ton of really great art into a 3-inch by 2-inch space, like a full, 4-foot painting. You can cram it into a 3x2 space like Magic the Gathering does. But I don't need to. I don't need that ridiculous scale of quality. I'm gonna fill all that in. That's all going just wrong. Circle back into place. There. QWERTY. go back to our references. Here. Burp. I'm going to save the string until we actually have the skyline in there and we see what color we need to make the string to stand out from the background. But I think I'm pretty content with that. Like that, as a crossbow, I mean, as a ballista, that works. So, cheers. Ballista. Here and let's just do this. Don't really need any real like structural stuff going on in this railing. It's just a means of separating space from the deck of the ship. So I'm putting in some shading here to help make the turret itself pop out a bit. Timely timer. Once we get this lighting resolved, then we're going to start. We'll start blocking in the borders of the page so that we know how characters are going to sit inside the environment. For next decisions that we get to make. Here. Hello. Hide our references. Let's ungroup. Go with ship. Ship. And then we peel open ship. We got crew, ballista, deck. We'll call that deck instead of ship. So there's all that. Ship, reference, full illustration, right where we're supposed to be. So I can take this, and we can conceal all of that. There. We still have to build our frames. I'm thinking the more I stare at the pages, the more I think that the trim here is just going to be like a ribbon of wild space, black with stars down here, and then it's going to fade into astral sea at the top, and then fade out almost completely here at the top edge. So it just fades from grayness silver down into black, and then I can have a black strip along the bottom here and have all the little individual icons that you can click to take you to different chapters, and potentially have the page number in the middle here so that the pages are neutral. Like sometimes I'll do mirrored pages like this. So like as you turn the page, like you see like this, but it's the opposite here, so they're facing each other. But you can also do a neutral symmetrical single piece so that it doesn't have a left or a right per se. It's just down the middle. So it's not designed to reflect. It stays the same on both pages, and it's okay. That's kind of how I'm imagining this going, having the black strip down here with the stars, and then having white icons, like click for the combat section or click for the spellcasting section, yada 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 yada. I haven't quite figured out the language that I want for those, but right now we're still implementing we're actually still building illustrations. So once all the illustrations in the book are built, we'll then be able to drop the frame on top of it and then blend them together. A lot of steps in this. If I was a big production studio, I'd have multiple people capable of working on this together. But as it stands, it's pretty fun being a solo operation. Because I get to do cool stuff like craft the pages to be uniquely built. Like it's difficult for a large business with lots of employees constructing the same book together to coordinate all of their actions so that everything on the page is like really serving the same narrative. Because if I had like 8 or 9 artists all working on the same book before the book was done so that we'd be able to speed up its publication, then I wouldn't have a bunch of art that's catering to the text on the page. Because the only way I can do it this way is by having all the text finish and then going back through and including them, after the fact. A little rambly there, don't mind me. Beep boop. And go like that. Like, I'll probably be able to increase the size of this, like maybe 20%. To better fill up the space with these dudes, and to get this bottom edge off screen, so that we're like looking at knees up. We don't need to show their full body. That's not actually important for this. Like I could potentially. Yeah, I could realistically up the scale like that. It's a pretty good idea. I should go ahead and just do that. Cool, we did that. I can always reduce the size later if necessary, but I'm pretty happy with that. Deck. Don't feel like working on peoples right now. I want to switch gears. We got about 20 minutes. Let's start working on Theurgy. Let's make sure our placement is good. Yeah, that's all garbage. Wait, who are you? Yeah, you're garbage. Junk. Take you down to the trash. Yeah, this is all gonna work out just fine. Just fine. Where do I want him at? That's probably a decent placement like that. There we go. Good. Stitch that up. Enough about me, let's talk about me. Drop this down here. Oof, woof. There we go. Give you something pretty to look at. Ship can safely increase or decrease scale by 1 magnitude during movement. If a pilot uses their actions to move again, you can also choose to increase and decrease scale by 1 magnitude again. Forward enough. Let's get after this. Built a number of these at this point. We should have an okay time crafting another ship. Look how much I'm leaning in. It means I'm concentrating. I need to back the hell out. Relax. Looking forward to tonight. Looking forward to doing some more Eberron character sketching. That'll be fun. I'm hoping the remaining pieces for Eberron get resolved swiftly because I want to get back. I still have some maps to build: a farmhouse and some forest vignettes, and some swampy vignettes, just like little set pieces that that DM can just drop in for players to deal with. So I'm thinking another. Maybe this week and maybe by Thursday next week, we'll be back into cartography to finish off all the set pieces for the Eberron adventure, and then we will be free and clear of that, and then get into monster, more monster tokens. There we go. Yeah, the problem with Theurgy is that they don't like to do any work themselves. That's why they enslave other creatures to do their work for them, which means that they don't have people very passionate about their work. So they're constantly dealing with low-skilled workers on their weapons. It puts them at risk. Like if you just steal some commoners off of a luxury crew and then you start making them work siege weapons to attack their friends on the next boat, that can be highly motivated. But Theurgy can charm them, suggest, like compel them to act with mind control and enchantment magic that's innate to Theurgy. So you might start off as a soft dandy, but if you survive long enough, you'll actually get decent at loading and firing weapons under command. So you'll start off without any kind of training, but you eventually acquire it, and then you start dealing legit damage, becoming like a legitimate threat. Then you become valuable. Like they could, like the Theurgy recognize they don't have any emotion. Like by design, they have no emotion. They do not care about your plights. But they do recognize the value of a well-trained crew. So you can actually gain survival on a Neogi ship by getting really good at firing weapons. It's easier for them just to eat a slacker than it is for them to eat somebody that can properly operate ballista and catapults. It's like, you know, we're just gonna eat that guy. He's not performing well. Kind of want to make some survivor backgrounds, like the background your character takes at first level is like Neogi slave survivor. It gives you proficiency in deception and advantage on saving throws against enchantment charm effects. Grant you automatic proficiency in siege weapons, even if you aren't normally proficient in martial weapons yourself. And a bonus language of sign language, or Zicklite, so that you can communicate with other prisoners without making any noise, so you don't draw attention to yourself. That seems like a pretty cool little kit of abilities. What is it? 37. Okay, we got a little bit more time left. Lines. There we go. Yeah, not bad. Not perfect. There, better. Better. I want all positions. Yeah. Let's create a new layer. Like that. Like that. Mm-mm. Yeah, it feels about right. Now who am I kidding? That doesn't feel right at all. All right. Ah. No big deal. No, I just want to merge down. I want to fuse the whole thing, but thanks, though. Those are references. There. That'll work. Okay, good. Better. Mm-hmm. Good. Alright, that's a little messy. Just block those, just blocking it with black for now. Keeping it simple is important so that it's easier identified, considering the scale that we're working at. Oof, it's getting a little too close to the trash. Front. Back. Oh, it's 7:55. Okay, that's it for the day. Yeah, so we're building art here. We're going to continue on with this. I've got a little bit of page cleanup on the fleets at the back end of this chapter that I'll be working on after this evening, and then in about 11 hours or so from now, we're going to be jumping on to do some Eberron character art for maybe 100 minutes this evening as well. So I'm here 6 days a week. I do this Monday through Friday in the morning like this. Saturday morning I do commissions and personal projects. Monday and Thursday night we do Eberron cartography and creature token production. And then Tuesday, tomorrow at lunchtime, we continue working on the martial power system, developing a mana system and non-spells for martial characters to do more than swing a sword. So, this stuff is cool to you, enjoyed hanging out in the study hall type environment, you're welcome to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I will see you all in about 11 some odd hours. So, thanks a lot for being here. See you soon. Cheers.